everyone, welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about TV shows I would recommend to writers. So I love great storytelling in all its different forms. So not just books, but TV shows and movies as well. I just love really good storytelling. And so I think these are some shows that could really help a writer with their writing. The first show that I'm going to recommend is The Originals. One of my favorite shows. Or pretty much you can do any of the shows in the Vampire Diaries universe. You can do Vampire Diaries, The Originals, Legacies. They're all great, but I'm talking about The Originals because it's my favorite. I love the show because the characters are absolutely amazing. I love seeing the characters grow and develop in these shows. I love the villains in the shows. Julie Plec, she and the writers for the show, they know how to write some really good villains because I love the villains in here. I love that they're redeemable villains. That's a trope that I actually really enjoy, is seeing the redeemable villain where they want to start to be good and do some things that are right. I also love all the twists and turns and seeing the plot develop and how it unfolds and everything that happens throughout. Oh my gosh. There's just so many twists and turns throughout the series. It's crazy, but I love it. It also has some really great dialogue in the shows. There's a lot of great quotable moments. Out of all three TVD shows, I will say The Legacies probably has the funniest, best one-liners in there. I am always cracking up watching that show. So the dialogue in here are great as well. And then the world building is just amazing. I love the world that they created with the stories, especially in the originals and being set in New Orleans and everything that's going on there and the world building there. It's just it really made me want to go visit New Orleans. I really just want to go to New Orleans. But yeah, I love the world building. I love the backstories that they give. Not just the characters, but to, the whole supernatural community as a whole. We have the origin stories of vampires, how vampires came to be, how the originals came to be. We have origin stories of the werewolf curse, how that got started. I just love all the backstories and the origin stories and tellings of these. And I like that it's also spread out and we find out the origin stories or the backstories at different moments in different episodes or different seasons even. So it's not like we don't get everything all at once. It never feels like just this huge info dump where we get told a whole bunch of things at once. I'm thinking of another example of another example of a show where I feel like they kind of do this info dumpy thing in the beginning, which I didn't really like. But with the new reboot of Charmed, the first episode where they meet the White Lighter and he basically just tells them everything, you're the charmed ones and this is how the world works and this is magic and there are White Lighters and elders, and I'm just I feel like it would have been nice And I'm sure they probably didn't tell them everything right up front in the beginning, but it felt like they kind of did an info dump session right there in the beginning. And I felt like it would have been better if it was revealed naturally throughout the course of the story. So that's kind of an example where you can see the difference between, one show where it's more info dumpy, a scene, and one where it does it very naturally, very much reveals throughout different episodes and different seasons. And I love the story building in the originals and the TVD universe. So basically for me, it does just about everything right. So, and I'm sure that's an exaggeration. I'm sure they don't do everything right. But I love it so much that I'm just like, they do everything right for me. So, love the characters, love the world building, the plot, the dialogue, everything. Definitely a show I would recommend to writers out there. The next show I'm going to recommend, I'll recommend this to writers if you're writing mystery or suspense or thriller, or, just any story that has those elements in it. I would recommend this show, and that is How to Get Away with Murder. I love this show. It's a great one to watch if you write suspense or mystery. I love how the beginning of each season, the first episode, kind of starts with the end or the climax of the season, and then it goes back like months earlier or weeks earlier, and we get to start seeing more and more things each week. Little by little we get more clues to piece together what exactly happened that led to this ending that we saw in the beginning. So I really like how they do that. I think it keeps you on the edge of your seat and in suspense, and you're trying to piece along the clues as you watch each episode. You're trying to put clues together and trying to narrow down a suspect list and figuring out who did what and what actually happened that night. So I really like that about this show. I will say they're really good also at misleading you. So they're good at making you think one thing, or maybe leading you to a certain suspect in mind, and then totally twisting that around on you. So I like how they do that. They're really good at misleading. But that is something you have to be really, really careful with, because it can backfire on you. And I will give you another show as an example of what to avoid in just a minute, because like I said, it can backfire on you. Because if you're not careful, you'll leave things open for plot holes and things that just don't add up or don't make sense. And this is kind of what happened with Pretty Little Liars. So Pretty Little Liars is a show that I would recommend watching to see what not to do. So not what to do, what not to do. I do think the first few seasons were really good. I did really enjoy the first few seasons. I think like maybe up to season 3 or 4. They did a really good job so far up until that point. And then after that, you start to get a lot of really big plot holes and things that don't add up, or they're conflicting with other storylines, and just questions that are left unanswered and we never get them answered. Do not do that to your audience. If you're a mystery, thriller, suspense writer, do not give us a bunch of questions and then never answer it. Because Pretty Little Liars does this. So that's why I say you gotta be careful with how you mislead, because even though you want to put, you know, fake clues or maybe hints that lead the reader in one direction while really you're doing something else, it also still has to make sense. Timeline-wise, it has to make sense. It shouldn't be conflicting with any other events or storylines. So just really be careful with how you do that. But I think if you can do it well, it works really well, and it really builds suspense, and you get to surprise a lot of people with the reveal when it comes out. Another thing I also like about the show, How to Get Away with Murder, is the characters are all very morally gray characters. None of them are completely good or completely bad. You know, they all have some good qualities, but they've all done some terrible, messed up things as well. And so even the characters that you think like, oh, he's such a sweet character, like I love him. But even those characters have done some bad things as well. So it's like they're all morally gray, and if those are the types of characters you like writing, then definitely this is a good show for that. The next show I'm going to talk about is Jane the Virgin. So this one is a good one for all you romance writers out there. So if you enjoy writing romance, whether as the main plot of your story or the subplot, I think Jane the Virgin is a good show for that. I think it really portrays realistic relationships, which we need to see more in books, because I feel like they're so not, especially in YA, so not realistic. But, you know, that's why Insta Love drives me crazy, because I'm like, this is not realistic. But anyway, I definitely think it's a good portrayal of realistic relationships. They're messy, they're difficult to navigate, they are complicated and don't always make sense. And I think this show does that. And also what I like about this show is they show both healthy and unhealthy relationships. So we do see some relationships in the show that are unhealthy and toxic, like with Petra and Raphael in the beginning, or with Raphael's sister and their stepmom. So you do see some toxic, unhealthy relationships, but then you do see some healthy relationships as well. So I really enjoyed that about the show. I also really enjoyed the family dynamics in the show between Jane and her parents and her grandma, and you know, all of their relationships with each other and how they interact and the dynamics of it. I think is really well done, and I love the relationships and the stories in here between them. And so, yeah, like I said, if you want to really focus on character relationships, and not even just romance, like I recommend this for romance writers, but not even just romance, any type of relationship at all, whether it's family, romantic, friends even. This is a really great show just to see all the different dynamics that there can be within different relationships. And so I really like that. Also, the show is super funny and soap opera-y. So it's like an American telenovela. So if you write like dramedy type of stories, where there's a lot of drama and a lot of comedy in it, then again, this is going to be a great show for you. And the last show I'm going to talk about is Once Upon a Time. I love this show. This is great, especially if you want to write a fairy tale retelling or any type of modern day retelling with a twist or anything. This will spark so many ideas for that. I love how this show takes the fairy tale shows that we all know and love, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, all the fairy tale shows that we know and love. I love how it takes it and makes it their own and gives them really their own story and how each character is connected. So like Belle is Beauty and the Beast is connected with Snow White, which is connected with Little Mermaid, which, I just love how it's all interwoven together. And I love the stories that they give these characters and how they really make it their own. And so this is a great one if you're really into retellings. This is another show with great villains and redeemable villains. So if you really want to write a story that has a villain, a redeemable villain, this is another great show for that. I love the villains in here. I love the characters, but especially the villains in here are like my favorite. And I love seeing their growth and development. And I also love that this has morally great characters. So, obviously Rumple is a very morally great character. He struggles to do what's right. He wants to at times, but then his own selfish ambitions take over. But not even just Rumple. Rumple is like the big main example we think of. But even with Snow, I like to see in Snow's internal struggle with her dark side. And she has moments as well where, she struggles to do what's right as well. And we think of Snow as one of the good characters. She's one of the heroes, but she also has a dark side that she struggles with as well. So she's not immune to doing the wrong things or hurting others. So I like seeing that about Snow. And then I also think the show does a really good job with the whole good versus evil trope. Obviously, that's a trope that's done many, many times. But I loved how they do it. I loved how there's a line, I think Rumple is the one who says this, but he says, evil isn't born, dearie, it's made. So, we get we see that whole good versus evil and what makes a villain and what makes a hero, where is that line drawn, right? And so I really like how they do that with this show as well. So definitely this is another show to definitely check out and keep an eye on. Like I said, all of these are on Netflix. All of them are pretty much completed. The only one that doesn't have an end date that I know of yet is How to Get Away with Murder. So that's the only one that I don't know when it's going to be ending. Hopefully not for a while. Everything else is pretty much completed. Jane the Virgin is on its last season. So the season that is on right now, it's the last season of Jane the Virgin. And then it'll be completed. All the other shows are already done. Like I said, they're all on Netflix. So definitely when you're ready for your next Netflix binge, check out one of these shows. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to end this here because I'm starting to lose my voice now. But let me know in the comments down below, what are some shows that you would recommend for writers? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!